Welcome, my friends, and let me spin a tale of love, redemption, and the transformative power of food. A savory saga that will tantalize your senses and warm your hearts. Enjoy the story. The stench of burnt garlic bread wafted through Arnold's kitchen as the owner, a portly man in his late 40s named Arnold Becker, stormed into the kitchen. His face was beet red, veins bulging in his neck. "Frank," he bellowed, "what the hell is going on back here? Table 6 just sent back their pasta primavera saying it tasted like dog food." Frank, the head chef, looked up from the stove with bleary, bloodshot eyes. He took a swig from a flask hidden in his apron pocket. "What do you expect, Arnie? You buy the cheapest ingredients possible. I'm doing my best here." "Your best?" Arnold sputtered incredulously. "I just caught you drinking on the job again. That's the third time this week." The young waitresses exchanged knowing glances. Frank's drunken antics were legendary, inappropriately hitting on the staff, mixing up orders, starting small grease fires. Everyone was fed up, but no one dared to cross the ill-tempered chef. "You know what? I've had enough of your crap, Frank," Arnold declared. "You're fired. Pack up your knives and get the hell out of my kitchen." Frank hurled his grease-stained apron at Arnold's feet. "Screw you, man. Good luck finding another chef willing to work in this dump." He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The kitchen staff stood in stunned silence for a moment, before erupting in applause. "Good riddance," said one waitress. "I was ready to quit if I had to endure one more shift with that creep." Martha, Arnold's matronly neighbor who sometimes helped with prep work, patted him on the shoulder. "You did the right thing, dear. We're all behind you 100%. Arnold collapsed heavily into a chair, head in his hands. "What am I going to do, Martha? Without a head chef, I'll have to close the restaurant. I'm already barely scraping by as it is." Martha clucked her tongue sympathetically. "Have faith, Arnold. The Lord works in mysterious ways. I'm sure He will provide a solution." Arnold sighed, praying she was right. His little restaurant was his pride and joy. He couldn't bear to see it fail. But where on earth would he find a new chef on such short notice? The next morning, Arnold sat in his cramped office, despondently flipping through his Rolodex of restaurant contacts. No one was available to fill in, especially given Arnold's reputation for high turnover and low wages. "What's the plan, boss?" asked Olivia, his plucky assistant manager, poking her head in. "We've got reservations on the books for tonight." Arnold rubbed his stubbled chin. "Looks like we'll have to close for a sanitation day. Call the customers and tell them we had an unexpected maintenance issue in the kitchen. Offer them a 20% discount on their next visit." "You got it," said Olivia. "Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help." "Not unless you know an unemployed master chef looking for work," Arnold replied wryly. Olivia gave him a sympathetic smile and ducked out to make the calls. Arnold's cell phone rang. It was his son, Evan. "Hey, Pops! Still on for lunch today?" Arnold groaned, having completely forgotten about their plans. "Hey, buddy, I'm dealing with a bit of a crisis here at the restaurant. Had to fire my head chef." "Whoa, that sucks," said Evan. "Want me to bring you some takeout instead? We could eat in the park. It's a nice day." "That actually sounds perfect," Arnold replied, feeling a rush of affection for his thoughtful son. "Meet you at the usual spot in an hour." Arnold and Evan sat on a park bench, munching on gyros from a nearby food cart. Arnold filled his son in on the Frank situation. "Yikes, sounds like a nightmare," said Evan, shaking his head. "But you definitely did the right thing canning his ass. No one should have to put up with that kind of behavior in the workplace." Arnold nodded grimly. "I just hope I can find a replacement soon or I'm screwed. I've already called everyone He was interrupted by a strangled choking sound. Evan's face had turned bright red, his eyes bulging as he clutched at his throat. "Evan!" Arnold cried, leaping to his feet. "Are you choking? Do you need the Heimlich?" Before Arnold could spring into action, a woman appeared out of nowhere and wrapped her arms around Evan from behind. With a few deft upward thrusts, she dislodged the chunk of gyro from his windpipe. Evan gasped for air, coughing and sputtering. "Oh my God, thank you!" exclaimed Arnold, rushing over to the woman. "You just saved my son's life." As Evan recovered, Arnold got a better look at the mystery hero. She appeared to be in her late 30s, with unkempt blonde hair and tattered clothing. Judging by the overflowing shopping cart parked nearby, she was likely homeless, but her clear blue eyes were sharp and alert. "Don't mention it," the woman mumbled, looking uncomfortable with the attention. She turned to leave, but Arnold gently grabbed her arm. "Please let me repay you somehow," he insisted, fumbling for his wallet. "How much cash do I have on me?" The woman held up a dirty hand. "I don't want your money, mister. I didn't do it for a reward." Evan, having caught his breath, rejoined them. "Sorry, I didn't mean to cause a scene, and thanks again for saving my bacon. What's your name?" "Ingrid," the woman replied tersely. "Well, Ingrid, at least let us buy you a cup of coffee," Evan suggested. "There's a little cafe right over there. Please, I insist. It's the least we can do." Ingrid hesitated, glancing longingly at the cafe. Who knew when she had last enjoyed a hot meal? "All right," she relented. "1 cup of coffee. But then I really must be going." The trio sat at a corner table in the cozy cafe. Ingrid cradled a steaming mug of coffee, inhaling the aroma with a blissful expression. She had cleaned up a bit in the restroom, washing her face and combing her hair. Arnold couldn't help but notice that beneath the grime, she was really quite beautiful. "So, Ingrid," said Evan, sipping his latte, "if you don't mind me asking, how did you end up in your current situation? I'm only curious because your reflexes back there were incredible. It seemed like you really knew what you were doing." Ingrid stared into her coffee, gathering her thoughts. "I used to be a chef," she said finally. "A damn good one, too. Worked my way up from dishwasher to executive chef at one of the hottest restaurants in the city." "No kidding?" said Arnold, leaning forward with interest. "Which restaurant?" "La Reve," Ingrid replied. "I'm sure you've heard of it. Got a Michelin star a few years back." Arnold let out a low whistle. "Wow, that's impressive. So what happened, if you don't mind me asking?" Ingrid's face darkened. "I made the mistake of getting involved with the owner. Thought he was separated, but turns out he was still very much married. When his wife found out about us, she went ballistic. Turned everyone against me. The staff, the investors, the food critics. Accused me of stealing recipes and sleeping my way to the top. My reputation was ruined." "That's awful," said Evan. "But surely you could have found work at another restaurant? A talent like yours." Ingrid shook her head. "The wife had connections. Blacklisted me all over town. No one would hire me after that scandal. Then things went from bad to worse." She took a shaky breath before continuing. "I started drinking heavily to cope. Got behind on my rent and got evicted. Ended up on the streets. Even pawned my knives for booze money. And then one night, passed out in an alley. Someone stole my purse with all my IDs and credentials. So now, even if I wanted to get back on my feet, I have no way to prove who I am or my culinary background. It's like Ingrid Hoffman, rising star chef, doesn't exist anymore. There's just this." She gestured sadly at her disheveled appearance. Arnold felt a surge of sympathy for this woman who had fallen so far from grace. He knew all too well how fickle the restaurant industry could be. An idea began to take shape in his mind. Ingrid shook herself out of her melancholy reverie. "Anyway, that's my sob story. Thanks for the coffee, but I should get going." She reached for the half-eaten salad Evan had ordered. "You gonna finish this? The dressing is a bit heavy. They should have used champagne vinegar instead of balsamic. And the potatoes are slightly underdone, but not bad for a little cafe salad." Arnold and Evan exchanged a look of amazement. Even in her current state, Ingrid's chef instincts were razor sharp. Arnold cleared his throat. "Ingrid, I know this might sound crazy, but would you consider coming to work for me? I own a restaurant nearby and we just lost our head chef. You'd be doing me a huge favor." Ingrid let out a harsh laugh. "Did you not hear anything I just said? I'm a homeless drunk with no ID. I appreciate the offer, but trust me, you don't want me in your kitchen." "I think you underestimate yourself," Arnold countered. "And you'd be doing a lot more than making a few salads. I need someone to overhaul the whole menu. Look, just come by tomorrow and see the place. If you're not interested, no hard feelings and I'll leave you alone. But something tells me you belong in a kitchen, not on the streets. What do you say?" Ingrid wavered, looking torn. The allure of getting back behind the line, doing what she loved most, was tremendously tempting. and this man seemed so sincere in his offer. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll come by and check it out, but no promises." Arnold beamed, shaking her hand enthusiastically. "Excellent! I really think this could be the fresh start you need, Ingrid, for both of us." The next morning, Arnold anxiously paced in the restaurant kitchen, waiting for Ingrid to arrive. He had spent half the night tossing and turning, second-guessing his impulsive job offer. What did he really know about this woman, besides a few impressive food critiques? He had put out some feelers to his industry contacts, trying to corroborate her story about La Rêve. The few people who remembered an Ingrid Hoffmann described her as a rising talent, passionate, creative, with an incredible palate and work ethic. The scandal with the owner had made waves, though details were fuzzy. After that, she seemed to have fallen off the map. Until now. Arnold's thoughts were interrupted by the kitchen door swinging open. Ingrid stood there awkwardly, a plastic grocery bag in hand. She looked like she had made an effort to tidy up, but her clothes were still worn and ill-fitting. "Morning, Chef," Arnold greeted her with a warm smile. "Glad you could make it. Welcome to Arnold's kitchen." Ingrid glanced around the dingy kitchen, taking in the ancient appliances and chipped countertops. Arnold inwardly cringed. It was a far cry from the gleaming state-of-the-art kitchen she must have commanded at La Rêve. "It's not much," he admitted, "but it's got good bones. And with the right touch, I think we could really turn things around. So what do you think? Still interested in the job?" Ingrid set her bag on the counter with a determined thud. "I'm here, aren't I? But if we're really doing this, I'm going to need a few things. First of all," she rummaged in the bag and pulled out a crisp white chef's coat and a set of pristine knives. "Consider it a signing bonus," said Arnold with a grin. "Every chef needs their uniform and tools." Ingrid ran a reverent hand over the coat, her eyes misting up. "I don't know what to say. Thank you, Chef Arnold." "Please, just Arnold," he insisted. "You're the chef now, I'm just the owner." Over the next few days, Arnold's kitchen underwent a stunning transformation under Ingrid's leadership. Using Arnold's meager pantry staples, she crafted an innovative new menu full of bold flavors and creative twists on comfort food classics. Arnold marveled at her ingenuity. Who knew canned peas could be elevated into a silky, mint-infused puree, or that stale bread could become decadent panzanella croutons? As word spread about the delicious new offerings, business began to pick up. Regulars raved about Ingrid's signature dishes like braised short rib with parsnip mash and crispy Brussels sprouts with pancetta. Reservations were soon booked out for weeks. Arnold's spirits soared along with his profits. For the first time in years, he felt hopeful about the future of his little restaurant. And he couldn't deny the growing attraction he felt for his talented new chef. The way Ingrid commanded the kitchen, cool and focused amidst the chaos, sent shivers down his spine. But he hesitated to act on his feelings, not wanting to jeopardize their professional relationship or take advantage of her vulnerable situation. Everything was going smoothly until one day, an unexpected VIP booking threw the kitchen into a tailspin. The mayor's notoriously snobby nephew was coming to celebrate his engagement with a party of 20. If they could impress this crowd, it would cement Arnold's kitchen as the new it spot in town. Ingrid was a ball of nerves, barking orders at the cooks and obsessing over every garnish. Arnold watched anxiously from the pass, knowing how much was riding on this service. When the first courses were sent out, he held his breath. The plates came back licked clean. The nephew proclaimed the tuna crudo transcendent and the truffle risotto divine. He even asked to personally compliment the chef. Ingrid emerged from the kitchen to a standing ovation, flushed with triumph. Arnold hugged her tightly, pride surging in his chest. As the last satiated guests filed out, Arnold popped a bottle of champagne for the staff. "To Chef Ingrid," he toasted, beaming. "The woman who saved Arnold's kitchen." Ingrid clinked her glass with his, but her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Arnold noticed her pensive expression as she slipped away from the celebration. He found her perched on the back stoop, staring up at the stars. "Everything okay, Chef? You should be over the moon right now." Ingrid sighed. "I am truly. It's just, I can't keep imposing on you like this, Arnold." staying in your guest room, wearing your late wife's clothes. You've already done so much for me. But now that the restaurant is back on its feet, I think it's time for me to find my own place." Arnold's heart sank at the thought of her leaving. He realized then just how much her presence had come to mean to him, both in and out of the kitchen. Swallowing hard, he reached for her hand. "Ingrid, I don't want you to go. These past few weeks with you have been some of the happiest of my life. I think I'm falling in love with you." Ingrid stared at him, mouth agape. "Arnold, you don't know what you're saying. You barely know me." "I know enough," he insisted. "I know you're strong, resilient, and incredibly talented. I know you have a huge heart. And I know that whatever mistakes you made in the past, you deserve a second chance at happiness. We both do." Tears welled in Ingrid's eyes. She squeezed his hand tightly. I think I'm falling for you too," she whispered. "But are you sure about this? Being with me won't be easy. I'm still battling a lot of demons." Arnold cupped her face tenderly. "We'll fight them together. You've saved me in so many ways, Ingrid. Let me be there for you now. Move in with me, not as my chef, but as my partner, my love." Ingrid responded with a passionate kiss, flinging her arms around his neck. Arnold pulled her close, knowing he would never let her go again. This was more than a fresh start. It was a whole new life, and he couldn't wait to savor every moment of it with her. 1 year later, Arnold's kitchen was the talk of the town, and Ingrid was the toast of the culinary world. Under her visionary leadership, the restaurant had earned its first Michelin star, an unprecedented achievement for such a humble establishment. Critics hailed Ingrid as a virtuoso and a gustatory genius, marveling at her ability to coax haute cuisine flavors out of simple, seasonal ingredients. But Ingrid's crowning glory was the James Beard Rising Star Chef Award, which she accepted to thunderous applause at a star-studded gala. As she stood at the podium in her elegant gown, Arnold watched with misty eyes from the front row, his heart bursting with love and pride. "I stand before you tonight not just as a chef, but as a survivor," Ingrid began, her voice quavering with emotion. "Not long ago I thought I had lost everything, my career, my self-worth, my very identity. But then I met a man who saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself, who believed in me when no one else would. Arnold, my love, you are the reason I'm here today. You saved me in every possible way a person can be saved." She raised her award high. "To all the dreamers and underdogs out there, never give up on yourselves. No matter how far you fall, you can always rise again. Believe in second chances. Believe in the power of hard work and resilience. And most of all, believe in love. Because sometimes the greatest masterpieces are the ones we create with our hearts, not just our hands. Thank you." As the room erupted in applause, Arnold leapt to his feet, whistling and cheering through his tears. He met Ingrid as she descended from the stage, sweeping her into a passionate embrace. "I am so incredibly proud of you," he murmured into her hair. "You amaze me more every single day." Ingrid beamed up at him, her eyes shining. "We did this together, my darling. You and me, the ultimate dream team." Arnold kissed her deeply, not caring about the flashing cameras or curious onlookers. Let them speculate. The love he and Ingrid shared was the stuff of fairy tales. Hand in hand, they strode out of the ballroom and into the sparkling city night. The future stretched before them like an endless banquet, brimming with possibility and promise. With Ingrid by his side, Arnold knew he could face anything that life had in store. Together, they had turned a failing restaurant into a gourmet destination. They had transformed a lost, broken woman into a culinary superstar. But most importantly, they had found hope, redemption, and true love in each other's arms. And that, Arnold thought blissfully as he gazed at his beautiful chef, rising star and soulmate, was the greatest triumph of all.